Cool.
What's up, dude?
What's up, man?
First episode.
Of the Jack and Jarrett Discuss Things podcast.
That name's gonna be changed.
It's not an official name,
No.
but it is what this is until we can figure out an actual name that sticks.
To be determined.
We got a few floating around. We've been
Yeah.
workshopping, but nothing official.
I said
so.
double J on the beat. He did not like it.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I mean, it's kind of fun, but I don't know. I want something that like represents what the podcast is as a whole.
Yeah.
You know, double J and the beat, while it does represent us and our energy a little bit.
Just casual.
Yeah. But we're here.
We made it.
I'm Jack, and this is Jared.
Yep.
So I guess we'll start out just kind of giving a lay of the land of who we are and what this podcast is and why we started it and how we know each other. So
Heck yeah.
we've known each other for like 5 years or so.
Going on 6 probably. Somewhere around there.
Something like that. So we met in high school. We have a lot of similar hobbies. So we both are into photo video. This guy wants to be an actor.
Yes.
Big aspirations over here.
We're trying.
Also, you play guitar.
Yep.
You're a musician.
So we are in my man cave / at home studio right now, which I have not used yet. But that's why I've got guitars hanging on the wall. You might see them change. I've got 3 I'm still waiting on. So
Yeah, he's kind of guitar obsessed,
Yeah,
to be honest.
a little bit.
He ordered one for like $1,000, I think.
yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, guy
yeah.
loves guitars.
But yeah, on that side we got all of our photo video stuff and then recording the audio through there. But yeah, this is where we're gonna be hanging.
Yeah, the
Little
cave.
area. Yes,
main cave.
literally the cave.
By cave, we mean bonus room, but you know.
But yeah, we both did TV and film all 4 years of high school. Or did you do it for 3?
3 and some change.
Okay. Yeah. So we joined in high school, and then they were like our seniors. Technically, they were like a class or 2 above us. So we kind of looked up at them. We became friends, and then when we were shooting a feature film, they really helped out on the whole production side of it, and producing side. So, but then we became friends ever since.
Funny thing about that is, so I'm a grade above you,
Yeah.
and there were the older broadcasting kids and the younger broadcasting kids. And I remember back when I was a freshman. Oh no, I was a sophomore.
Yeah.
So you guys were new to Fairview High.
Yeah.
And
we were from Fairview, but that school we were new.
yes. So yeah, well, Fairview High. Like
Yeah.
it was your first year to Fairview High. And I had another friend, Michael, who was in my broadcasting class as well. And you would come in the class sometimes. We'd be in there, and we thought you were so dumb. Yeah. I think I told you about this. We wanted nothing to do with you. We thought you were immature and dumb. And what's funny is
wrong.
I knew of you for like a year or 2,
Yeah.
but we never really talked at all. It wasn't until I was a junior high school.
Sophomore or junior? Yeah.
Like maybe late sophomore, early junior kind
Yeah.
of thing. So it's kind of funny how that worked out. But here we are. So I'm very visual minded, photo video person as well. That's kind. I got my own. Actually, 2 video businesses.
Yeah, man.
One is More Entertainment, and we do all around production. Real estate, really anything that comes our way. And then I'm also the co-owner of Bloom Digital, so we do wedding videography and photography. So yeah, that's kind of my area. We both go gym.
Yeah, we do.
That's a big part of our lives currently.
Heck yeah.
What's cool for both of us is neither one of us were really athletic or
Hell no.
ever thought about lifting weights or walking into a gym for any reason. And here
No.
we are.
I always wanted to in high school, but
Well, you've been working out for what, 3 years? 3 years?
Yeah, yeah.
So I started, it's been like 2.5 years for me because I started in the beginning of 2021.
Mhm.
I was a scrawny 130-pound
Same.
kid.
Same. I was 135 for years.
And you're what? Are you 155 right now?
I'm around 150, 155.
Okay, so am I. So we've both put on 25 pounds, which is a win in my book. So
I'd say 15, 20 for me, depending on the day.
sure, yeah.
So,
But it's kind of funny how that works out, and it's great. I mean, like, it does wonders for confidence. You feel better about yourself.
literally.
And the thing is, the thing that people don't understand about going to the gym, who have never been to the gym,
yeah,
it feels good to move your body.
it does.
It feels good. I mean, it releases endorphins. You feel good about yourself. It's motivating, and there is an actual chemical thing that happens in the brain, and it makes you feel good,
Yeah.
Aside from the actual physical health benefits you get, of course.
Yeah.
So,
Dude, it helped with my confidence so much. Looking back to how I was in high school.
Me
Which like
too.
when I most like people I know when they graduated, like they're still sad. They still miss high school about graduating. I don't give two shits about when since I graduated. Like I was always focused like. School sucked for me because I always was focused on film related stuff or music related stuff about the future. And obviously we're young, so we don't have to stress too much about it. But I do like to keep it in mind. And like with just the way I learn, like I taught myself how to do all this, like photo, video, and then acting. They kind of gave me tips on when we shoot our short films and stuff. That's why I like taking like director's notes and stuff like that. It's really helpful. But I'm just a self-taught person, and school is very hard. And then I kind of did the same thing. Our mutual friend Kane taught me how to not look like an idiot in the gym before I went. So he taught me the basic things, and then I just made a good playlist. Went in there, it was like in my own zone.
Band's a good playlist.
Literally,
you knock some shit out.
I mean, there is days like where I'm in a bad mood. I don't even listen to music. Like there's days like that, but it's literally like it is like the one place because I'm thinking constantly. Like overthinking is my middle name, and when I'm in the gym, I'm not thinking about anything else. And it's kind of calm.
Give you something to focus on.
Literally.
And sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I remember when I first walked in the gym, I went all out. I was like, you know what? I'm ready to make a change. I'm tired of feeling the way that I feel. I'm tired about being insecure about being skinny in my weight.
Same.
And so I was like, I'm getting a personal trainer. I'm going to make it happen. I'm getting the gym membership. And they were showing me around. I didn't know what a single machine did other than like, you know, the treadmill or whatever.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything. And I picked up on it quick. And it's become a big part of my life, and really, there's no looking back.
No.
And I remember back in high school, you know, I had a hard time making friends. You know, I was insecure. You know, I was anxious, and I really cannot stress enough what big of a difference working out, whatever working out looks like for you. You know, for me, it's strength training. You know,
Same.
we lift. That's our thing. I'm allergic to cardio.
Same.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm trying to get some cardio.
We eat good out here.
But you know, whatever that looks like for you, I can't stress enough how big of a difference it can make in your life. And the gym is not a scary place.
No.
I'm telling you, the people that go to the gym are some of the nicest people you're ever going to meet.
Literally.
They will help you. They will talk to you. They're friendly.
Yeah.
They're friendly people, you know.
You can see the biggest brute in the corner, like deadlifting 405 pounds, and he's like a teddy bear when you go.
Yeah,
up to
they
him.
are.
Like,
they're like that.
Like, I know so many people in there like it. But, yeah, man. It's changed confidence, like, so much. Like, you just feel better about yourself, and it's like,
For sure.
I'm more leaning towards the I don't really care what anyone thinks mentality. To a safe extent.
Well,
you know?
sometimes it's easier said than done.
Yes,
but
and it depends on every situation. But it is, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. A little bit more about me.
Yeah.
My goals in life, career-wise and interest-wise, I would love to be a writer-producer. I think that videography is great.
Yeah.
It's what I love. I love creating. That's what I'm passionate about. But I love to write.
You're good at it.
Yeah, like, thank you. I mean, I really am. I've always had kind of a knack for it. I get it from my mom's side of the family.
Yeah.
When I find a story or a concept that really grabs me, I just get sucked in. And I know
that's all you think about.
I know how I feel when I find something like that, and I'm super passionate. And when I start putting pen to paper, or in my case, script, in whatever script software I'm using. But when I get in there, I mean, I love it, and I would love to write and see my own stories come to life and produce the projects that I believe in. And then on top of that, I would also love to get to a place where I'm able to be a person that can look at other creators that are similar to me, and I can go, hey, I like what you're doing here. I want to make this. I want to create this with you. Because at the end of the day, that's really what being a producer is about. So that's what I want to do. And I may end up talking about some of the projects or stories that I'm working on in this podcast. And we'll both keep you kind of updated on what's going on with us and what projects are in the pipeline as we grow our careers and our talents.
We're actually shooting something next month. So
yes, we are shooting a Scream-inspired short film. So what we're doing is we're taking the iconic Scream opening, and we are going to put a little spin on it. We're gonna pay homage to what's come before, and try and recapture the essence of what makes a Scream intro. But we're also gonna do some things differently, and I think we can talk more about that as time goes on. But
Heck yeah.
The big thing is typically in a Scream intro, you're focused on the girl.
Yeah.
And in this case, we're doing things a little bit different, and we're focusing on the guy this time around. And I think it's going to be a neat little twist. We got some fun stuff up our sleeves, so
Heck yeah.
we can talk more about that in the future.
And I haven't read the script yet. I'm excited.
Yeah, soon.
I think it'll be cool.
It's just about there. So
Cool.
I'm really excited about it.
Cool.
I
guess.
I think, some subjects we're going to be talking about in this podcast, definitely, really just things that interest us, because you don't want to talk about things you don't care about.
Yeah.
That's what we're here. We're here to talk about things that we love, things we're passionate about,
Yeah.
and things that are just fun. We'll talk about, actual goals and aspirations and projects we're working on, but we're also going to talk about, what video game are we playing?
Yeah.
What movie do we go see?
Mhm.
Because that, I'm a film buff. I know you love movies.
Yeah.
I mean, look, everyone loves video games. It's 2023.
Yeah.
Everyone plays video games.
Yeah.
We'll talk about what music we're listening to, really just anything that kind of comes our way that we're like, I like this, I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big part
Heck
of the
yeah.
show. So,
And I like when you talked about your aspirations and because we don't talk about it very much because we're always we're used to working on that stuff all the time. We don't really talk about how much we care about it. The first time, Dayton is another one of our mutual friends. He's the cinematographer. Most of our films. When you guys let me be in my first short film, it was not great, but it was my first thing I did that I felt like it was my own.
Mhm.
And now I know it's what I want to do because we shot this one other film a long time ago, and it was 6 hours long. It felt like I was there for an hour, and that's when I knew what I want to do.
Exactly.
I love music, and I love playing on stage. Any opportunity I get, almost as much. They're very on par. But ever since I gave me the opportunity, we still work together way beyond high school. So I'm excited. And now, speaking of acting, it's cool in these big games that are coming out. Actors are getting cast in these games.
Yeah, big actors.
In the Dark Anthology games.
Yeah, Dark Pictures.
Dark Pictures, yeah. They cast all these people in these games. Will Poulter, who plays Adam Warlock, and Guardians that just came out.
For those who don't know, what the Dark Pictures is it's an interactive story game where you have a group of characters and basically you'll take turns, playing those characters. Yeah. And you can play it single player, you can play it multiplayer online, local couch co-op. A lot of fun. You got a big group of friends, and if it's the kind of thing, choices matter. So if you're not careful, you can get your own player killed, someone else's character killed. So they're a lot of fun.
We played every single one so far.
There's 4 so far.
Yeah, we love them.
And this series of games is actually made by the same developers who did Until Dawn, and then also The Quarry, which came out last fall or last summer. Both, they're great games. Great games. Until Dawn still has not been topped, in my opinion. But that's just me. But what were you saying about playing that?
I don't remember.
Well, they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun. So,
I guess I was just talking.
Oh, you were talking about actors.
Yeah.
You were talking about
And
how nowadays I think video games are being taken a lot more seriously as a medium and as a way to tell stories. And not every game is going to tell a great story.
No.
I think gameplay, end of the day, is the most important factor because otherwise you just watch a movie. So, but I think especially now you have like Sony. And all of the Sony first-party games very heavily focused on the story, and you're getting big names, you're getting big actors, and the casting's pretty cool. And I think people are opening up to the idea of video games being able to tell a great story.
Yeah.
As time goes on, you have The Last of Us, which I think was really kind of what helped kick that off.
Yeah.
I think people saw that story and they saw what you can do within the scope of a video game, and video games, what's cool about games, in my opinion, is they do something that no other medium can do, and that is you are interacting directly with your character. Yeah. And it's like you're watching a movie and you can cut away and suddenly it's 3 days later, you're in a new scene, and we haven't seen anything that led up to that point. You know the basics, and you understand in a tightly written story, everything is intentional and everything makes sense. But you take a game where you go on a journey and you're with a group of characters and you follow these characters from point A to point B. and their ups and downs, and you're with them the entire time. And you spend a lot more time with characters. It's almost like a TV show. Like you're able to spend a lot more time with characters in a game than you are in a film. And I think there's value in that. I think it's really cool, and I think that if you're a gamer, I think you understand exactly what we're talking about. But I think the big game a lot of people are talking about right now, one that we both played, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Yeah, this guy's a mad lad. It's been out for a month or so.
Yeah.
It's a sequel to Fallen Order.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Respawn Entertainment developed both games. They also do Titanfall and Apex Legends. But if you ask me, the only games that matter for the most part, and the only games we'll be talking about from them are the Star Wars games.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been out for a month or so. We are both playing on PC.
Yes.
Which is going to factor into our conversation here.
Yes.
But performance issues aside, Jared, I want to know from you, what do you think about the game, and how has your experience been with it?
I've loved it. So I know a lot of people.
And briefly, do we want to avoid story spoilers? Probably.
It's been out long enough. I think we can talk about it.
Well, I haven't beaten the game.
You haven't?
Well, my performance issues have been so bad that I can't finish it.
Oh, okay.
So,
well then, yeah, we'll keep it spoiler free then for Jack's
what we'll do is we'll avoid story spoilers, and we will be talking about abilities and things you unlock. So just be aware of that.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Okay. Well, I mean, you've gotten to pretty much the end, right?
I'm in the late game. Okay. I've probably got a couple hours left.
Okay, cool.
But I currently cannot get out of the main menu. So.
Damn. Yeah. So, what is causing a lot of the performance issues?
Well, PC's got it the worst.
Yeah.
Console is definitely the way to play this game right now.
That's what I've heard.
Even on console, it is not a pretty time.
No.
I mean, there are a lot of issues. As far as crashing goes, and
Just
I mean,
FPS.
we're playing on PS5, and we got a game that's running at 720p in performance mode.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just unacceptable in 2023, if you ask me. It's a mess, and it's what happens when you have a great studio like Respawn, working with a not so great company like EA, who I'm sure was to blame for this game getting rushed out. And the thing is, Fallen Order launched in a very similar state in 2019 when it came out.
Yeah.
I didn't play it at launch on PC. I played it a year or two later. But I mean, really the big thing is this is an Unreal Engine game. Unreal Engine notoriously, especially with games with large environments, a lot of stuttering. And really it comes down to optimization. Yeah. But Unreal Engine 4 is a nightmare a lot of the time. And on PC, the biggest issues currently...
It's the port, right?
Well, yes, because these big AAA games are designed for console and then they're brought over to PC. What's happening is it's all about optimization. Yeah. I mean, this game is not utilizing your GPU and your CPU like it should at all. You know, and you have, every time you launch the game, there is a shader compilation wait.
Yeah.
Which is, the little menu where you're optimizing your game files, everything else.
Yeah, Call of Duty's doing that too.
The big thing is that should not happen every time you launch the game. I mean, you're waiting for 2 or 3 minutes every time you launch the game.
If not longer.
And even with that wait, every single time, there is still considerable stutter. And, we're both playing on pretty decent, upper mid-range computers, I would say.
Yeah.
And I can't get 60 FPS. I mean, I average probably 35 to 45 FPS, maybe 50 if I'm lucky. And the main area, Kobo,
the hub world,
runs like absolute dog shit.
It does. It's so bad.
It's not good.
But
let's, I think performance aside, I think most people are aware of the performance issues. And
EA knows too. They've released multiple statements and a few patches so far.
They knew, and they released it anyway.
Yeah.
So that's
the game was delayed. There. That's why.
Well, it should have been delayed again.
Yeah.
Look, a rushed game will always have a bad launch. A delayed game will eventually be good. It's just one of those things. Just release it when it's ready.
Yeah.
But moving on, I guess, Jarrett, what do you think? Ignoring performance issues.
Yeah.
I want to know what you think about the game, and how do you think it stacks up against the first one?
It's pretty damn close, because I was going to replay the first one again before I played this, but honestly, I just forgot to. But I love the story of this new game. I love how they explored the High Republic, which is the older age of Star Wars. I think it's really cool how they meet. And the gameplay is definitely improved from the last game because the last game felt kind of unfinished. It was like a good base for that type of game. It's a Souls type game, story driven game. But this, I like how there's multiple different stances now. And what stances are you rocking right now? Because I'm rocking single and blaster. I think that's what.
Well, I'm also rocking the blaster.
Yeah.
Single blade and blaster.
Okay.
I really feel like that's what they want you to use.
Yeah.
Because
It's Cows Evolve.
I am going to talk about this. You unlock a blaster.
Yeah.
About halfway through the game, and it really changes things up quite a bit because now you have ranged attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And there are other ways to achieve ranged attacks, but the blaster is the quickest and most reliable way to achieve that by far. And it really does change the game quite a bit, and it's fun. It never gets old. I mean, it really doesn't. I mean, I've been using it for most of my playtime at this point, and I've never gotten bored of it. So you got blaster and single blade, and I'm also rocking the double bladed lightsaber.
Yeah.
For crowd control. I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
There's that really cool dive ability where you can you can you twirl your double bladed lightsaber and you spin into enemies, and that's pretty fun. But yeah, I've been liking it a lot. There are, I think, 5 stances in the game, 5 different ways to wield your lightsaber. So if you're a Star Wars fan, or if you're just a lightsaber fan, you're gonna have a lot of fun.
It's a good, and the like I said, I love the story. Like my first playthrough, like I know a lot of people like Jack. You like to 100% certain games.
Yes.
And this first playthrough, I did not. I just wanted to experience the story as it was meant to be played, or at least just as story-driven play. My second playthrough was more getting stuff around the world. Like I got that god-awful map upgrade that it took to find all the crates. That was horrible, but yeah, I dig it. And once I'm gonna do a third playthrough once the game's a bit more optimized, because it did kind of take me out of it. But
well, when you have a game with this many issues, on a platform, like the PC, I think it makes sense to just do the main story because, especially when exploration, it sucks because exploration is such a big part of the game. The game is littered with things to do. I mean, there's so many optional paths, so many different, so much side content. It's a much bigger game than the first one.
Yeah. I mean,
by every metric.
The first game was what, like 50-something gigabytes? I know this one's 155.
Well, that's just Western game devs
I mean,
not optimizing their game.
Yeah. But it's still like it's massive compared to the last game.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's just such a bummer when you have a game that really wants you to explore and really encourages you to do that side content, and it's just a chore to get through because of the stuttering and because I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do on this main planet Kobo, and it's a lot of really large environments, and that's what sucks too. Even more so is because one of the biggest changes or additions to the to the new game is these much larger environments. Everything was a lot more self-contained. You had smaller planets to explore, and they've really opened things up here. And all of these big areas that are so cool and you want to explore, it runs like shit.
Yeah,
it's really sad, but that's the state that the game launched in.
I will say for the game, like every cutscene, it's not pre-rendered. It's in game. It looks good, like the player models.
I love real-time cutscenes.
Yes.
I mean, that's the way to go.
And once they get that performance fixed out, because right now every time a cutscene happens, I drop like 15 frames and then it comes back up. But like the character models look good. I'm playing on 1440 and it looks good. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big standout here visually are the environments.
Yeah.
I mean, especially
Coruscant looks sick.
Yeah, I mean they're just the environment details off the charts here. Big step up from the original. I mean, especially you get to some of the desert locations and all of the little jagged rocks and environment details. It's all great. I mean, it is a next gen game through and through. I mean, this was not released on the last gen consoles.
No.
And it shows. It really does. I do want to spend some time talking about the gameplay because I think that's where this game really shines.
Yeah.
I think the story is very good, and I think it does try and go deeper and do a little bit more than the first game. But I think what draws me to the Jedi games is the gameplay. I know not everyone's going to agree with that. But I really am a fan of how it plays. I really like how it's taking a lot of classic video game genres and kind of meshing them together. At its core, the combat is Dark Souls inspired. They do try and kind of add some challenge there. Although, I will say I do find the game to be a little bit too easy. I had the same problem with the first game because I'm playing on Jedi Master, and while there is some challenge to be had there, and there have been a couple times just for the sake of time I've lowered the difficulties to Jedi Knight. A few of the bosses.
Dude, that's what I'm main on is Jedi Knight, and I have to drop it to Padawan.
Hey, that's what difficulty settings are there for. But I think the game, once you really get a handle on it, and if you can time a dodge and time a parry, you're not gonna have a hard time playing this game, for the most part. But the combat is fun, and I think they really added a lot of weight to the way the sabers feel. They added dismemberment.
Yeah, they
did. Fans were disappointed that it wasn't in the first game, and it's here. You're cutting off stormtroopers' arms and legs, and
it's a little bit, dude. Cal is brutal in this game. Vader, the Vader effect is real on this man. Like he is.
Yeah, it's
cold.
He's an interesting character for a lot of reasons, which maybe we'll get into spoiler territory in another episode.
Yeah.
But the gameplay is really fun. On top of the combat, I really love the exploration. It is a Metroidvania, so there is some backtracking. They did add fast travel this time.
Thank the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Which definitely, especially if you're a completionist, is going to save you a lot of time.
Yeah.
I did like in the first game the backtracking because it really kind of forced you to learn the planets, how they work, how to get from one place to the other. And there's that, really kind of lends itself to that risk-reward factor. It's like, I'm missing this collectible, or this quest or whatever, and I got to get from here to there. It's across the planet, and do I let the enemies respawn? Like, you start asking yourself these questions, and it's a lot of fun.
Hey man, you had to get every poncho in the last game.
Yeah, I did 100% Fallen Order. I would like to do that as well with Survivor.
I don't think I 100%.
We'll see how it goes. But it's kind of give and take what games I decide to complete and which ones I don't. And then on top of the exploration, I love the 3D platforming here.
Oh yeah.
I mean, in a lot of ways, this is just a video game video game.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love it for it. You're wall jumping, you're bounding off walls. You got the double jump, and they even have these new challenges now.
Yeah.
Where you're put in these environments and it's platform city. It's and I really like it. It feels great to play. I think they really improved the feel of the game and the animations here, and I like it a lot. It all feels much more natural.
Yeah.
And I mean, hey, I grew up on Nintendo, so 3D platformers are kind of part of my DNA.
Yep.
And it's a lot of fun here. So I think overall it's a great game. I think if you're debating what platform to get it for console, without a shadow of a doubt, at least for now.
Yeah.
Or if you're on PC, just wait a couple months. They're gonna patch it.
Yeah.
There's a couple of struggles that come with being a PC gamer.
Yeah.
This is one of them. Unfortunately, you spend full price.
Yeah.
Now $70.
Yeah.
I mean, hey,
good Lord,
I got the deluxe edition.
I did too.
And with tax, it was $100.
Yeah.
So I spent $100 on a game that I can't even finish right now because I can't load out of the main menu without it crashing.
Yeah.
And I've uninstalled and reinstalled it. I've been tweaking the game files and everything else, and it just no luck. The crashing for me has gotten worse with every patch.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of shit out of luck currently. Yeah. But there are some benefits of being a PC gamer too. Yeah. Maybe we'll talk about that sometime.
Yeah.
I think the game is great. I think it does improve on the original. I think it's a bigger, more grand adventure. I think the story's more interesting. And overall, I think aside from the performance, I think last time we'll bring it up. I think really aside from that, it's a great game, and I think it's a step up. I think if you're a Star Wars fan or a video game fan, you're gonna like it a lot.
Either way, yeah.
So I think the next big thing we want to talk about is definitely Guardians 3.
Yes, let's get into it.
Because we want to talk about things that are relevant, things that are popping. Things that are happening, and that is definitely happening right now. People are really excited about this movie, and they're showing up. I mean, butts are in seats for this movie.
Yeah.
And that can't be said about every Marvel movie that's come out lately.
No.
I mean, Quantumania flopped.
dude.
It didn't even break even. And I think
My opinion of Quantumania, that like definition, if you look up mid in the dictionary, Quantumania is there. Like,
yeah.
but then when I saw Guardians 3, oh my god.
So, and we'll get more into
Yeah.
what we think about the MCU as a whole in a little bit, but I think for now, I think it's safe to say that Guardians 3 is a hit.
Yeah, I loved it.
I thought it was great.
James Gunn just knows what he's doing.
He
knows what he's doing, and he knows what he's writing because he believes in it, and he's going to do the same shit at DC, and I can't wait.
I think for those worried about James Gunn also kind of bringing his kind of offbeat brand of humor to the DC universe, I wouldn't worry about that because James Gunn knows what works in a comic book film, and that shows with Guardians 3 because what we have here are personal stakes, that affect these characters directly.
Yeah.
And you have an emotional arc as a result of that. And that's what a lot of these Marvel movies have been missing lately. You just don't care, because the stakes just keep getting bigger and bigger. And eventually, you've watched enough movies about, someone wanting to take over the universe or destroy a planet. You just kind of get tired of it. And I really think that Guardians 3 was a good send-off here.
It was great.
Are we talking spoilers? What do you think?
How long ago did it come out?
It's been like 2 weeks.
Yeah, we can do it.
Talk spoiler. Okay.
Well, I've seen spoilers on TikTok already. So.
Spoiler warning. If you're watching and you haven't seen it, first of all, what are you doing?
Yeah, go watch it,
but,
please.
Second of all, just be aware of that. We're going to get into it. So, Jared, I want to hear from you. Why do you think Guardians 3 worked when some other recent Marvel movies have not?
Because this Guardians is different. Like, when they first started this IP, bringing it into the MCU, it's like the most random group of people in a film, for at least for Marvel so far, and then they set up the whole MCU cosmic in one movie. It is amazing. Each character is different and they have their strengths and weaknesses. Guardians 1 is one of the best MCU movies ever made, in my opinion.
I agree.
Guardians 2 was great, and then this one was awesome. It just worked. Because it felt so different. Because with Ant-Man coming out, and then what else came out recently?
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
We had Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
We had Wakanda Forever.
Yeah. It was so refreshing to get this movie. At first, I wasn't even that hyped for it because at first I wasn't the hugest Guardians fan. But then I went back and watched them, and then I was so ready for this film. It's not new, but it's just we needed it. It was a good win. And you're laughing in this movie, and then 30 seconds later you could be crying.
They nailed both the humor and the emotion in this movie, and this can't be said for most Marvel films, but I think the jokes landed. I think it's a funny movie, and the Guardians films are, and they should be, but I think this one really nailed the humor here. Nailed the emotion.
Dropped the first F-bomb in the MCU.
Yeah, the very much widely talked about F-bomb.
Dude, and that was the perfect place to do it too.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Yeah, it was blunt. It was hey, I'm cussing. I'm saying fuck.
Yeah,
here we are. Deal with it.
Yeah.
So, but I think for me, I just think that it was a movie that every act was strong. All 3 acts were strong.
Yes.
It had an arc for every character, just about. I didn't know what they did with every character. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a perfect film. I think it has some issues, but I think it's solid. I think it knows what it was trying to do and it achieved it. And I mean, it does start off very strong.
Dude,
we have quite the opening here.
Yeah.
Adam Warlock is introduced.
Literally just flies through that damn building.
You have a very, very cool fight scene with him, and he's just taking these guys out. I mean,
left him. Yeah.
The Guardians didn't stand a chance, and he's after Rocket. And Rocket is the central, I guess,
part of the story.
overarching part of the story. I mean, this is Rocket's film. It's a Guardians film, but actually it's Rocket's film, and it really shows here. But Adam Warlock shows up. You got the crazy music playing. What's the song that plays?
Oh, dude, we'll put it up.
Pull up the soundtrack on Spotify.
Let's see.
And see, or Apple Music. Apple Music.
Yeah,
worst
keep
streaming
talking,
platform of all time. But beyond that, it started off really strong, and it's kind of a brutal film to watch at some parts. I mean, it doesn't pull any punches, and I would say, I'm sure there were some parents who were surprised to see how violent and brutal this film gets. They really don't hold back here. Starts out very strong. Rocket's in trouble, and the Guardians have to save him. So I think the big thing is exploring Rocket's backstory was something that's kind of been hinted at here and there, but we really get that full picture here. And so I do think
It's Crazy on You.
Crazy on You?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot what it was called.
Yeah.
That's a good intro song for sure.
You know, I saw the vinyl the other day at Walmart.
Really?
Almost bought it.
Of course you did.
Yeah, and I looked at my bank account and I was like, never mind.
Wise man.
Yeah. Hey, it has a Springsteen song on it. It was pretty convincing.
So, while I think it's a solid film, I do think it has a few problems, both of which involve some of the more prominent characters.
Okay.
I want to start off with Adam Warlock
Okay.
because he's great,
Yeah.
and you know I didn't hype up his intro for nothing. It's a great intro, a really great way to introduce that character, and I think Will Poulter did a good job. Yeah, a lot younger take on the character.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's definitely, and that kind of played into his writing here with the character. He's young. I think they let him out of his cocoon too early, so he's not fully developed. He's not the smartest person out there, but you know, I think he's got some charm to him, and
yeah,
he looks cool. His makeup's cool.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I think he was underutilized, and I think we could have done a lot more with him. And I think that he is one of the most talked about parts of the movie, and people love him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think what we got was enough.
I mean that's how I feel about Gore and Thor: Love and Thunder.
Well, I just think they were kind of playing it up to be he was gonna be one of the biggest parts of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't really do much, and at the end he didn't really do much at all. He was just kind of there, and I feel like they didn't give him enough to do.
Well, yeah, I mean I will say the part for half the movie he was kind of just chasing them and trying to keep up with them. I did notice, maybe not half the movie, but at least one of the acts. But I again, this is Rocket's movie, so they can't focus on Adam.
It's a 2.5-hour movie too.
Yeah.
So there's only so much they can do, but that's gonna segue me into my other complaint with the movie, and that is, I think 2.5 hours was more than enough to give Adam Warlock the time that he needed to shine. It's just that time was spent on other things that I find to be unnecessary, and for me, that would be the inclusion of Gamora in this film. That's my biggest issue.
Okay.
Above anything else, the multiverse is cool. Don't get me wrong. I have an issue with this whole thing of characters are now immortal because there's another version of them somewhere else. It's like we've seen Infinity War. She sacrificed herself. It was a big moment, and she's back. And now we're playing it for jokes too because we have Quill trying to get over her. Or trying to win her back, really, is what it is, and he's the big drunk crybaby, and he misses her, and she doesn't want anything to do with it, and it's just, why did we go that route?
I will say, it is a weird, I couldn't even imagine being in his shoes where your past lover that was killed is there, but she has no idea who you are, gives two flying fucks about you, I can't it's kind of a weird situation, but I guess since they did include her in the movie, it did kind of work for me because it was a unique situation that none of us have advice on, and I think it was fine. Now she did feel kind of just thrown in, but I mean I probably look at it different than you do. But
well, I'm going to get more specific into why I don't think it worked. I think that, similar to Adam Warlock, her character didn't really do anything. Because what did her character exist for? Her character existed for there to be some conflict, and then at the end for Quill to get over her and go their separate ways.
Yeah.
When Quill could have done that completely on his own without Gamora's involvement at all. I think the better arc and the better story would have been, Gamora's gone and Quill can't get over it. And he's not being the guardian that he needs to be. He's held back by this loss, and he has to overcome it on his own terms.
And that could have been the reason he could have left.
Yeah, exactly. I think that I don't think her character did anything important. I thought she was kind of annoying, to be honest. I she was mean, and she wasn't the same Gamora that we saw from 1 and 2, and I just didn't dig it. I just didn't like it.
I understand.
I'm just kind of over this whole thing of characters are now immortal, and we're going to see the same thing with Scarlet Witch. We're going to see the same thing with God knows who else.
Well, it's like that's what Star Wars does. Unless you see a body, they're coming back.
I think you can take Gamora out of Guardians 3. You'll have the exact same film, except now you have more time to spend on Adam Warlock or whatever else you want to flesh out. I think too, you got to think about James Gunn's position here, because while I'm sure the Russos involve some of the other Marvel filmmakers in the writing process for Infinity War and Endgame, especially when it comes to tone and making sure they're getting characters right and dialogue right, but end of the day, I don't think James Gunn had final say over what happened to his characters in that movie, or either of those movies. And it may have been that his hands were tied and they wanted to kill Gamora, and maybe James Gunn had other plans. Maybe James Gunn's plan was to have Gamora be a part of Guardians 3, and so well, now the multiverse exists, I can bring her back. I think that's a very likely scenario in which James Gunn, his hands were kind of tied here.
I have another example of that. Funny example. So
what's that?
Remember at the end when Peter was in space and you're like, where's his mask at? Like, wondering where his iconic mask is. Because James Gunn released a tweet that's saying he left it in his bedside drawer. And because the Russos, like, in the previous movies they included him in, made him wear it. But James Gunn necessarily didn't agree with that decision. And so that's why he didn't have it in this movie. It was just one of those things. He's just like, he's not going to have it on.
I missed the mask.
Yeah, I know. I
did.
love that mask.
It looks sick.
Like, when you first see him in Guardians 1, it was sick. It was, like, awesome. But, yeah, that's what James Gunn said. He tweeted about it. He was like, yeah, he left it in his bedside drawer.
Yeah, well, that's a cheap answer if you ask me.
I know. Yeah. But, I mean, what else What else could you say? Like, I mean, because realistically, he would have used that when he was, you know what I mean? Like,
sure. Well, James Gunn gonna James Gunn, I guess.
Yeah.
I like James Gunn.
I
think he's a cool guy. I think he loves comic books.
Yes.
I think that's important, and I think that he's someone who's gonna get these characters, and I think we're gonna see it. I really do. I think everyone out there, trust the process. I think that we're gonna see some really good things come out of the DC universe. I'm excited for Superman
There's
Legacy.
one more thing.
Yeah.
He said, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
You're good.
So when Groot says "I love you guys," he said that was the first time the audience can understand Groot.
Yeah,
and I
think
was
that
like,
was cool.
Oh, dude, I was like,
great.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're part of the family.
I
now.
know,
Yeah.
I know. See, and that's another reason I love this movie. Like, it's just, I went into it blind. I had no idea what was gonna happen. Like, I knew that High Evolutionary was the villain, but that was about it. And
sure,
it was awesome.
Solid film.
Yeah,
really great film.
I think it's the best one so far.
I think that I had more issues with it the first time I watched it. I think my second time seeing it, I warmed up to it a little bit more, and I think I had less issues with it. I don't think every arc that panned out for every character was as good as it could have been. I think Drax especially. I gotta say, I'm surprised no one died in this film.
Yes, I thought, because it was marketed that like Rocket was gonna die. But then I thought Drax was gonna die because they didn't set like.
I also thought that'd be because here's the thing: Dave Bautista's said publicly, he wants to move on.
Yeah.
He wants to become, a better actor. He wants more challenging projects.
Which I respect.
Of course. Yeah. I don't know exactly what his range is.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other project I've seen him in other than Marvel is Dune, and I mean, he was just Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
Really, he was just angry Dave Bautista with more makeup on. So I don't really know. I don't know what his range is. Okay, and Glass Onion.
Yeah.
He's good in that movie too. But that remains to be seen. But I think that that whole thing of he's not supposed to be a guardian. He's supposed to be a dad. It's like what if he had given his life to save the kids? That would have been a good send off. Like he's like this is more important to me than self-preservation. I'm gonna save these kids. I'm gonna give my life to do it. That would have been cool. I thought that Nebula was going to give her life as well, for a short period, but that didn't end up happening. I did not like the Peter Quill fake out death scene.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of fake death scenes in general. What was the point of that? Really? Was it to show that Adam Warlock was good? Was that the entire point of the scene? It was
probably they wanted to show point of redemption for him.
But you can do that without almost, without baiting the audience and thinking you're going to kill the main character. It's just, to me, that didn't work.
I will say, I did expect the decision of Peter leaving, but I did like it. He was just like, I need to figure some shit out. Like when he
I'm okay with the Guardians leaving.
Yeah.
I mean, because we've had a trilogy, you know, and look, it said the legendary Star-Lord will return.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, he's conflicted right now, and that's what. He's with the,
I'm hoping. I think the big thing is, I think, while it didn't end off as strong as it could have, I think for the most part, it ended well. I think it was a solid film. I'm really curious what they do with the Guardians going forward. I mean, really, what I'm really curious about is what's happening with Rocket. I want to see more Rocket. I want to see more Adam Warlock. You know, maybe we'll get a solo film. Hopefully, fingers crossed, one day. Hopefully, he plays a really big part in the next 2 Avengers films.
Yeah.
Give him more to do. You know, I think that's my big thing.
I love when he goes, "Don't be rash."
Yeah.
Dude, I've seen it so much. I love it.
Yeah. So.
Heck yeah.
Guardians was cool.
Yeah, and you gotta remember how it's so hard to make a perfect film, like, because it's not everyone's gonna think one movie is a perfect film. Like, you know what I mean? So when we're critiquing these things, it's just based on our personal opinion.
Yeah.
Like, so now I'm not as much of a critic. Like, I mean, you look at movies more in depth than I do, because you write them. Like, you literally write them and produce them with Moyd and Bloom and stuff like that. But I definitely am picking up on some of the things we've talked about so far.
I can be a harsh critic. I can also be very forgiving. Like, sometimes it's just like, hey, like, it was a fun movie. It really just depends. Yeah. But I've looked at movies that way for so long that it's just kind of part of the process for me. You know, and I think maybe that's why I liked Guardians more the second time around. Because the first time I was like, okay, you know, Marvel needs a win. You know, I'm looking at this movie like, are they going to pull it off? And I'm analyzing it while I'm watching it.
They did.
And the second time, I just got to sit back and enjoy it.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about all the little things. I was just like, okay, I like this movie enough to see it again, and I enjoyed it a lot. So, you know, the same can't be said for every Marvel film that's come out lately, and I think we should talk about really what's going on with the MCU right now.
Yeah.
I think that while Guardians was a win, I think it's still unclear how successful the MCU is going to be going forward.
I think they're just in they're just in a weird state right now. Like, anyway, sorry. Go back to what you were saying.
Well, I think we've had 4 very mediocre films come out before Guardians 3. I think the worst offender being Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yes.
That movie was a disaster.
I expected so much of that movie because I, like, looked up things about Gore, how cool as a character he was, and, like, they made him just steal a group of kids and, like, you know what I mean, and have one fight on a moon. Like, and I just, like, I like, the movie was, I don't know, I don't like how comedic it was. I know Taika Waititi was the director of that movie, but I feel like that was a movie that did not need a lot of that comedy. It should have been a more serious movie.
Well, what you have with that film is you have a director, you know, Taika Waititi, who was given free reign to do whatever he wanted because Thor Ragnarok was so great and everyone loved it so much. Still, I think one of the best MCU films. Like, that's a top 5.
I love
probably
Thor
for me.
Yeah,
at the very least top 10. But they just let him have free reign, and he just
it was just weird.
It was too much, and they were making light of things that should not have been made light of. You know, and what you took, you know, Fat Thor happened. Okay, that's fine. But you took a character that really had, they made a very serious character, you know, for Infinity War, and you know, they killed his brother, you know, and Loki was a great character, still is, you know, multiverse. But they're making light. I mean, they're making light about Loki's death and Thor's past, and like we're making jokes about it, and I just thought it was. It was just a disaster, and the jokes did not land.
No, they were they were forcing the comedy on you.
It was not. It wasn't funny.
No,
I mean it was trying way too hard to be funny. They just look. Taika Waititi did a great job with Thor 3.
Yeah,
it was very clear to me that he did not understand or respect the characters here.
No,
it was an anything goes film, and I didn't appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, even Chris Hemsworth was like, if I'm doing Thor again, it's not going to be as comedic. Like, it's got to be more serious. And the one thing I did like about that movie was at the end when he's holding Natalie Portman. He's like, just let me have this moment. Like, I've lost everything. Let me lose this. Like, when he's with Gore. Like, that was the only thing I liked in that movie, pretty much. Like, that landed for me, at least. But when they're with Eternity and stuff like that.
I thought everything on the black and white planet was cool.
Yeah, they did shoot that in a pretty unique way. I did think that was cool.
I like that.
but it's
Yeah.
you know we've already
And
talked about
you
it.
know, and we don't want to spend too much time on,
No.
on each of these films individually, but I think Doctor Strange was disappointing to most people.
I thought it was okay. I'm not a huge Doctor Strange fan, so that's probably why.
Do I think it's a bad film? No, I think that it's a disappointing film. I think that it was put up on a pedestal that it just didn't achieve. The expectations were not met, and I just didn't like the story. I didn't like the direction that they went. You know, that's as far as I'll get into it right now.
Yeah.
But
I will say one thing about the recent Marvel movies, and this may bring it all in a nice bow or whatever, at least the way I think about it. Like, after Infinity War, everything with Marvel started to seem super saturated and start to all look the same. Like, not even just the CGI, but just the way it felt. Like, even No Way Home didn't feel like a Spider-Man movie. It felt like an MCU movie. Now, I still love No Way Home. Like, towards the end, the ending felt very Spider-Man to me. Like, I love that they made his trilogy, like his his what's the word I'm looking for? Not his introduction, but like
about the resolution.
No, like how they made Homecoming, Far From Home, and then No Way Home. His
like an arc.
Yes,
Yeah,
his arc was completed through 3 films, and I love that. And I wasn't even
what it is.
expecting
It's him becoming Spider-Man.
Yes,
you know?
literally by the end, him in that apartment by himself. He has the police scanner that he makes, and like at home, and he's just like, I thought that was a perfect sound.
You know, and the biggest complaint that people have for those 3 films is that they don't feel like Spider-Man films.
They don't.
Because, you know, like every film has some kind of mentor or leadership character, at least one, and it never really feels like it's his own film.
I will say I did like Homecoming.
Homecoming is the best one out of the 3 as far as story goes. I still think my favorite's got to be No Way Home.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's just, come on. It's great. But when you really think about that, and like, hey, we're getting a whole other trilogy of these, and what this was, he wasn't ready to be his own Spider-Man, and so you're watching him be mentored, whether it's Tony Stark, whether it's Mysterio, even though you know, kind of a mentor, kind of not really, and then of course, you know, Tobey and Andrew, the best mentor you could ask
for.
Literally. And so I'm excited to see where it goes. I think that's going to be a highlight by far for everything that happens in the MCU going forward. I think the big problem right now, though, with the MCU is that right now what the multiverse is doing is it's giving us a chance to see things we never thought we would see. And that's great. And that's fun. As a comic book fan and as a person who's been watching these since I was a little kid, you know, both of us.
Yeah.
It's going to be really fun, you know, to see some of the things that they're doing. And it's already been pretty cool.
Yeah.
But what's happening is it's becoming a gimmick. And it's
it's just removing stakes for me, at least.
Like, well, I don't even mean story wise.
Oh, okay.
Like what I mean is it's like, what are we building to? It was very clear what we were building to in the Infinity Saga. What we're building to now is a part 1 and part 2 of an epic crossover film, two epic crossover films.
Yeah.
And so we already know what we're gonna get. It's gonna be big battle against Kang. Everyone that we know and love is going to be there. I'm sure we're going to see probably Tobey and Andrew again. I'm sure we'll see Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Who knows who else we're going to get? Deadpool's going to be there. It's going to be an epic crossover. And we already know what we're getting with that.
And then Secret Wars.
So there's nothing we're building to at all. I mean, what we're getting these MCU projects that have multiverse elements to them. And really, it's almost like we're biding time with mediocre project after mediocre project until we get to when it's time for the Secret Wars, and it's like, well, here's everybody, here you go. It's like, now we can eat, but it's you're not building towards that. It's just we're waiting to see it. There's nothing being built up. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
that's the biggest problem, and I think everyone can agree right now that everything feels scattered. It doesn't feel like we're building to something.
It's not linear.
And it's because we're not building to something at all. We never were. You know, because Secret Wars is just, you know, once again, we already know what we're going to get with it. It's not like we're waiting to figure it out. It's like it's Kang battle. Everyone shows up, yada, yada, yada. And, you know, but you can't really build to that. It's just, you're just waiting to see it. So that's the biggest issue the MCU is facing right now. And I don't know what's going on. I think that these writers and these executives have just completely underestimated the intelligence of the MCU fan base because they got lazy. I mean, lazy writing. The writing has gotten a lot worse. I think they just figured like, hey, we've already got them pulled in. You know, we can just throw these things out there and they'll show up and eat all up no matter what it is.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. I mean, we see that.
It's definitely a quantity over quality issue right now. And Kevin Feige's already stated they're swapping. Like, he's going for which I'm glad they acknowledged it.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, it's just, like, it's already been done. Like, it's, like, they wanted the money. And it doesn't matter what movie they make. They're going to get the box office numbers they want. Like, for the most part. Like.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, what do you want to see from the MCU going forward?
I just
like,
want.
What do you think? Like, how do you think they can improve? And then what projects would you personally like to see happen?
I want to see less comedy, for sure. Because like when it's like Thor: Love and Thunder, I just felt like I didn't give a shit. Like I didn't feel any stakes. Like, but if like Guardians, it was funny where it worked. But Rocket's life is on the line the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's literally like, it's crazy how that movie he's not in it a ton because he's dying, but it's about him and the most impactful
parts. About that too.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, it's different. Like, I want stuff that actually feels like Marvel stuff. Like, not this saturated looking, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I love, like, not to go into DC, but like the Batman, the Matt Reeves with, like, that is not a movie. That is a film. Like, it is amazing. It is probably one of my favorite movies ever.
It's great.
It is amazing. And it felt different, like, in its own world, like, but it wasn't saturated. There's still depth to it. Like, it was shot practically. Whereas, like, Homecoming, they made Tom Holland a Spider-Man suit fitted specifically for him, and they put a CGI over it. Remember when he's on the tugboat that's sinking? Like, they literally just CGI'd over that when he had an amazing suit. That's kind of what I mean. I want them to go back to the roots of filmmaking. Like, because right now they're just going for cash grabs, at least from what I'm noticing. Like,
I think if Marvel was smart, they do what DC's doing right now, where they have their like kind of extended universe, where they can do however many offshoot projects they want, the self-contained stuff. We have none of that with Marvel right now. It is MCU or bust, and I think it'd be cool. Like, I think that shows how important it is to have your offshoots and your standalone projects, because when everything feels like it's part of the MCU or the universe, it's like it's overwhelming. Yeah, and I feel like you lose a lot of freedom to create, and to reach a certain quality level. I think that's something that I'd love to see Marvel take a stab at some point. But hey, we'll see.
Sorry about the cutting. My cameras are set to record a certain amount of time, and we have to get it figured out. This is first episode.
We're not podcast professionals yet. We'll get there. We promise, but we're not there yet. Yeah. I think the next thing we want to talk about is what are we listening to? Because we both love music.
Let's get into it.
Hey, we've got guitars back here. I'm gonna go and tell you now. Yeah. Our music tastes are wildly different.
Yeah, but we do have similar things.
We got some crossover. Crossover here, and so you're gonna find it comically different. What we're listening to here. Let's start with you, Jarrett. Okay. I mean, what do you typically listen to? What are your genres? What are your artists?
I grew up on classic rock. My dad, he works in the music industry for artists, so that's naturally what I listen to. I learned to write and play guitar to Springsteen records, hence why I have this Telecaster here, because it's just like his. So that's where I learned about some of my musical history. And as I got older, I got into heavier rock and then into singer-songwriter. My sister is a musician as well. I've been playing guitar and singing since I was 12, so about 9 years now. And I kind of just taught myself. I listened to songs and used everything like that. When I got into Foo Fighters is when I learned a lot about playing guitar and the whole fretboard and everything like that. So I kind of grew up. As I got older, I started listening to harder rock, singer-songwriter, like I said. Stuff like that. When I'm in the gym, it's sometimes metal. I grew to like that. And Jack's shown me some music I've gotten into, like
MCR.
I mean, yeah, that was one of them in high school. And just more like R&B stuff, like some soul stuff. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any the specific things, but yeah, man. And what I write is mainly acoustic, like singer-songwriter stuff. But my roots are in rock. Like, so
yeah, he's a rock head for sure.
Yeah.
So
if you couldn't tell.
let's get more specific.
Yeah.
What are you listening to right now?
So, like, favorite album right now?
Yeah.
Or...
What's in the Jarrett Hoppin rotation?
So, I started listening to the famous Zach Bryan American Heartbreak album, the one where he's like this with his leg up. I love this because it's just like, it feels like backroads country. Just like, it feels like stuff I could record in here with my knowledge. It's just a guitar and him singing, like, and it's good though. Like, there's level to it, and the writing's actually good. Let's see, what else am I listening to? So there's a band, Mammoth Wolfgang Halen. So if you know Van Halen, it's his son, and he sings and plays guitar, and it sounds just like him. It's insane. I have one of their vinyls over there, actually. I listen to them. Their music is some of the best mixed rock right now, I think. It sounds so high quality, and it's good. And like, every song sounds similar, but they're different. There's a band called Gibble Price and Friends I really like right now. They're like just an alternative. I think they do some Christian music too, but I mainly just listen to their alternative stuff. Let's see, what else am I listening to? And like I said, I grew up on Bruce Springsteen. Another band I really like that I've been listening to is Gaslight Anthem. They're a band that recently just got back together. They are from Jersey. They're like an alternative rock band. They're not super heavy. I first listened to their album, 59th Sound. It came out in 2008, I think. But I love their sound. Like, it's just really good. Like, my old job, a customer came in and actually recognized my shirt when we started talking about it. They're not a huge band, but I really like their sound. And they just got back together and they're touring, and I really hope to see them again. We're actually going to go see Bruce Springsteen at some point.
Yes, we are.
We haven't decided where to fly out to yet. But we're going to. I'm super excited.
Never seen him perform. I'm looking forward to it. This will be probably the last chance.
Yeah. Even at his age right now, I've seen videos, and it's just, yeah. He's got the whole band, dude. Like, I'm excited. He's
a legendary
but yeah,
performer.
I don't know, mainly on a rock and country type thing right now.
Sure.
Yeah, and acoustic stuff.
Well, that's about how it usually goes for you, rock and country, right?
Country is somewhat recent. I never used to like it at all. And then, I mean, we live in Tennessee, so it's bound to happen. Like, so.
Sure.
But yeah, I know you got vastly different music taste than I do.
Yeah. I like a lot of stuff. But I got some favorites. So I'm gonna go and tell you right now, I love house music.
Yeah.
I love it. If I could only listen to one genre of music for the rest of my life, it'd be house music. Just the driving nature of it, and like it gets you focused. It gets me full of energy, and I love the sound. I mean, I think I was 13, like 12 or 13 when I had a friend first show me EDM, house music specifically. I mean, I think the first time I was ever shown any kind of electronic music, I was 13, and my friend showed me Deadmau5, who is still probably my favorite artist of all time to this day. I mean, his sound is in his ability to master tracks is like no other. I mean, he is. I mean, there's a reason he's so respected in the electronic music scene, and he's such a legend. I love house music. I've branched out from EDM over the years. There was a long time that's all I listened to. I love electro, also within EDM. I'm a big drum and bass fan. Outside of that world,
you used to play drums, right?
Yeah, well, drum and bass is a little bit different. It's like extremely high intensity.
Oh no, I meant
like,
just drum.
I did, yes, a couple of years, and I loved it. I mean, yeah. I think I have good rhythm. I think that
you should do it again. I need a drummer.
Well, maybe one day.
I need one.
Yeah, maybe if I have more time. I'd love to learn an instrument.
Yeah,
it's like, gosh, that's so much time to put into something, but I'd probably be better for it. I think outside of that world, I love rock music as well. I love alt rock. I really love 90s and early 2000s rock, especially. But I love classic rock too. I mean, my dad, he played that all the time when I was growing up.
We both grew up on that. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think both of our dads have like similar music tastes, probably.
Dude, if they met, like, the world would change.
It would. Yeah, tectonic plates would shift. As soon as they shake hands, like a massive earthquake happens.
Dude, my dad. Oh my god.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. Yeah, our dads are awesome.
Yep.
And I love classic rock. 90s, early 2000s. I love grunge. Love Nirvana. I think
Yeah.
everybody does for the most part. Outside of that world, I like pop music. Not all pop music, not the top 40, but I like a lot of alt pop. I like a lot of hyper pop. I like a lot of electro pop,
I don't know
synth
what
pop.
any of these mean.
Really, what it is it's pop with kind of an electronic,
Okay.
flair to it. A lot of synths, a lot of, really kind of intricate production. A lot of pop music nowadays, and you can probably attest to this as well. Very stripped back, very basic, generic. It's formulaic, and it's just super generic stuff. So I like pop music that kind of it's more interesting and kind of does some more fun stuff. I like a lot of really like bubbly, like energetic sounds as well. Like when it comes to like the pop music that I like.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's gonna get any of this, but I love Charlie XCX, Churches, Grimes. Like that's the kind of stuff that I'm into when I'm talking about the pop music that I like. I love alternative, and really I'll listen to almost anything. Right now, this is actually pretty cool, and I would love to actually dedicate a large segment of an episode to this. I was looking over the Rolling Stone 500 greatest songs of all time list. Now this list is from 2021. They've had a couple lists.
Okay.
And the first two were about the same. The second list had a couple minor revisions. It was mostly the same with the same artists and whatnot. This 2021 list was all brand new, and they redid it from the ground up. And I would love for you and I to go through it and kind of look at it.
Yeah.
And we can kind of give our opinions on it. I've looked through it a little bit already, and I think it's definitely a list.
Yeah.
I don't agree with everything that's on there, but I've been actually making my own playlist on Spotify. I've been going a song at a time, kind of adding it. I'm not done with it yet. It's 500 songs,
Dude,
but
I need new music so bad.
and this has been a great way to find new music, is
Yeah.
because you have a list. If we're talking 500 greatest songs of all time, I mean, you're pulling from every genre. You got songs going back to the 30s all the way up to the 2010s, and I mean, you got every genre you could think of. Although I will say, it's Rolling Stone. There's a lot of classic rock in that list.
Yeah.
And I think Bruce and the Beatles and Bob Dylan are like the top 3 with the most songs.
See, Beatles is one band I grew up on, and I cannot listen to them anymore.
I like the Beatles. I just never really.
I just, God, like anytime I hear it, it's just like.
I was more into the Beach Boys than the Beatles or the Monkees. I like both of them a lot. You know the Monkees?
No.
You know the Monkees,
Dude.
They did. Come on, you know these songs,
Dude, I have
man.
to.
They had their own TV show back in the 60s. They did I'm a Believer, like the original I'm a Believer.
Oh.
Yeah, the good I'm a Believer.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did Daydream Believer as well. They've done a couple others.
Yeah.
But I love a lot of like California like surfer rock as well, like from like the 60s and 70s. Dude, love that sound so much.
You know what band I love? It's Cage the Elephant, dude.
Yeah, well, they're alternative, right?
Yeah, but they what's the album called? I was listening to it today. Let's see, because the one you showed me with Broken Boy on it, I think it's Social Cues.
I have not heard one of their albums from front to back. I've heard a couple singles. I haven't really got into it that much. I like what I've heard though.
Yeah, it's just called Cage the Elephant. It came out in 2008. It's the expanded edition. I love. It's like alt rock, like light punk type thing. Once you'll that's probably not the best way to describe it, but when you hear it, like you'll understand.
Sure.
Like but I love their stuff. And I try playing their songs, like, and I'm like, I just don't have like their vibe. Like it's just
sure.
like.
Okay. I got to point out too. I saw Brian Wilson perform, and Brian Wilson is the leader of the Beach Boys.
Oh yeah, you told me that. Yeah.
And that was a really cool show. And actually, last night I went to a show.
Yeah.
I went and saw Poya, which I don't think
no idea who that is.
You're familiar with. But,
no.
He does rap, and it's he kind of does like that, like horrorcore, kind of like funk, not quite funk, but like funk music, right? Yeah. But like that's like the style of beat. Like I'm pretty sure that like Suicide Boys and like Ramirez and Poya and all these rappers, I think that what they did was they took Memphis rap, which Memphis rap is very much like not a whole lot of melody. It's a lot of like you know.
Is it like mumble rap?
No, not at all. It's not a whole lot of melody, and like it kind of repeats the same like beat a lot, and it's you know, has a certain style to it. But I think they kind of changed it up and got that style going. But it was a rave, that's for sure. I mean, there were a lot of rappers there. Ramirez was there, Puya was there. Fat Nick was there, a couple others. I know you're not really familiar with a lot of this, but
No,
I was in the pit most of the show, and I'm pretty sore.
Yeah.
So
Well, the first time I went to a pit, we went to go see Turnstile.
yeah, that was a great
And,
show.
oh my god,
a
like
little bit short, but it was good.
yeah, like Turnstile was one of the harder rock bands I first got into, and like sometimes it says metal on iTunes, but I don't know if what you'd classify them as. They're kind of their own thing.
I think they're punk.
Yeah,
more than anything
but
else.
yeah, we went to go see them at the Brooklyn Bowl here in Nashville, and that was the first time I ever got in a pit, and I got punched in the face, kicked in the knee, and it was like swelled up. I could
Well,
barely walk.
That pit was full of a bunch of dickheads.
Yeah, literally just trying to
So-
fucking hurt people. Like, I'm all for like getting in a pit, jumping up and down, everyone just loving it. But when you're like, I know it's a whole metal thing, and I've talked to my metal friends, they're like, yeah, it's just a thing. But like, I don't agree with it. Just going around swinging your arms, fucking hitting everybody.
Well,
like,
it's not about hitting people. What it is,
Like-
I mean, it's moshing.
yeah,
You're-
I
and
mean, yeah, it's
what
a
you're
whole
supposed
culture.
to do is you're
Like-
supposed to bounce off of people, and you're supposed to kind of just be like just a part of this like big wave of people.
Well, yeah,
essentially.
yeah,
And there is a lot of motion, and there is a lot of flailing and swinging and
Yeah.
kicking. But when you do
Oh,
it,
I know.
but when you start trying to like intentionally hurt people,
yeah, it's
that's
just,
when it becomes an issue. The show that I went to last night was great.
Yeah.
There was none of that. I mean, if someone fell, they were up immediately. No one was hurting anybody. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 4 hours of music.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And now there were like I think 3 openers, but they played for a while, and it was 4 big name rappers, and I thought they were going to perform together, but they went one after the other, and that really lengthened the amount of time of the show. Which
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
But man, was I exhausted when it was
Yeah.
over. I mean, I was so tired.
I will say, when we went and saw Turnstile, like, that was one of the first times that like I enjoyed the opening music.
Yeah.
Like, we both like the band Citizen that played.
Mhm.
They're like an alternative band. I don't listen to them as much anymore because it all started to sound the same. But when I first listened to it, I loved it. Like, and there's a band called Kulu or something like that. They're another metal band. Their stuff was good. It reminds me of Motorhead kind of. But when Turnstile came on, like, it erupted. Like, there's a song they have called TLC.
Yeah.
And they played it at the end. When that song came on, literally, like, you remember the SpongeBob scene? Oh, wait, you haven't seen SpongeBob. Anyway, the SpongeBob scene where all the sardines are in the Krusty Krab, that's what it looked like. And it was a wave of it. Like, it was awesome. Like, I was kind of worried while I was, because I literally worry about everything. So when I was in the mosh, I was worried about, like, getting hit, which I did. It was inevitable. But when Turnstile came on, I didn't give 2 shits. Like, it was an awesome show. Like,
it was a lot of fun.
it was short, but they sounded good.
Oh
like-
yeah, it was
like-
yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I think they played for 40 minutes or so.
Yeah.
30, 40 minutes. But there were 5 openers before them, and I think it was like 2.5 hours or
Yeah.
so. Like,
I will
of
say a lot
music.
of their songs are fast paced though. Like
Oh, they're-
TLC
they're
is
shorter
like
songs.
this. Like,
But
like-
they didn't even play the full album,
yeah.
and they could have played a lot of other stuff if they wanted to. They just
Yeah.
didn't. So
When they played Generator, dude, I was like, yes! Like, dude, I'll
It was
put
a-
the song up, but it was like, oh, good
Um, I think something that'll be fun, kind of a fun way to wrap up this segment.
Yeah.
I think every episode we should both challenge each other to listen to an album.
Every episode?
Yeah, every
Okay.
episode.
Okay.
And so what we do is we pick something that we both like, something that we love, like an album probably. And we, the challenge is, okay, you're gonna listen to this, and you pick something, I'm gonna listen to that, and then we're gonna reconvene next episode and
Okay.
talk about what we thought.
Okay.
And I think it's a cool chance to listen to things we don't typically listen to and kind of branch out a little bit.
Okay.
So I'm gonna actually look through my albums really quick, and I'm gonna see what Jared's gonna listen to.
I gotta find something
and
for you to
look,
listen to.
Hey, you got 2 weeks to listen to it, so
Yeah.
or 1 week. I don't think we've decided if it's gonna be weekly or bi-weekly yet. We could go either way.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll figure it
that's
out.
plenty of time. Plenty
Yeah.
of time. You can listen to an
Yeah.
album. Well, I'm still looking. If you have one, why don't you go and go
Okay.
ahead and
I mentioned
What
it
do you got
earlier. I want you to listen to American Heartbreak by Zach Bryan. I'll send it to you. We'll
I
both...
love Zach Bryan.
Really?
I haven't heard any of his albums though. Like I haven't listened to like his albums from front to back.
Okay. Well, you can do it with this one then.
Okay. Well, I want you to listen to Dawn FM by The Weeknd.
Okay.
And I think you like The Weeknd.
Yeah, I have one Weeknd song on my phone, and I like it.
So, and Sacrifices from that album.
Here, just send it to my phone.
Yeah, I'll send it to you in a moment. But I think we're starting off pretty easy. We can get more wacky with it as time goes on.
Oh, it's going to. Jack's going to send me some weird shit I'm not going to like.
Well, hey, you never know. You might like it. But I think that about does it. Really,
That's a wrap, man.
I think that this episode was pretty casual. It was just kind of getting to know us, and we're just talking about stuff that we love, things that we enjoy.
And you can also submit, just put in the comments stuff you think we should talk about that you think.
Yeah, if there's something you want to hear us talk about. Yeah. And as these episodes go on, we'll get more focused and
things are gonna change. Setup's probably gonna get a little bit better. Yeah. But heck yeah, dude.
Awesome. Well, it was fun.
Hell
thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
All right. It's a wrap.